And welcome. Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm so delighted to be here today. I'm Dr. Jane Mountrose, your host, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host and dear friend, Gretchen Comer, who is, like me, a spiritual coach, healer, and more. And she'll tell you more about herself later. For now, we want to focus on our theme, which is out with the old and in with the new. It seems to be pretty typical that we carry baggage around with us that we don't need. A lot of times not even being aware that we have it, or if we have it, not being aware that it would be a good idea to do something about it. So this is an opportunity today to lighten up. And I'm very excited about it with the new year here. It's really a wonderful time to continue to clarify what we want. What we want to leave behind and how we want to move forward and make this year more radiant, more miraculous, whatever it's more of that we want to create in our lives to bring that forth without having all those burdens that are actually causing it to go more slowly than we would like. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have another special meditation. This time it's going to be transmuting old stuck energy with Ascended Master Saint Germain and the Violet Flame, which is one of the most amazing and valuable tools, I think, for all of us at this time. So here we go. We're going to take another enlightening step into the new year together. And as we do this also, I'd like to start just by centering ourselves here together, because this is a special time, and we often just are carrying one thing with us into the next. So we're going to just take a few breaths, and if you can close your eyes, straighten your spine to run energy clearly or freely through your body, and breathe in love and light from all of those beautiful beings who are with us right now. There are many beings of light, masters and angels, guides, guardian angels, spirit guides. And just feel yourself here in your body now. I do want to also mention those who are joining us to please feel free to say hi. We'd love to hear from you. Right now I'm getting us back so I can actually see if anyone says hi. Oh, and there's Babs. Hi, Babs. And welcome. She says, so happy to be here with you. And I think we both feel the same way about you. So we're ready to start. And I want to turn to Gretchen and just ask you, Gretchen, to share a little bit more about your feelings on the topic. I know that you have a lot of things that you're releasing and bringing in and making that choice with the new year. So what would you like to say about it?
Yeah, thank you, Jane. Yeah, I think what I am realizing as I am going into this new year and releasing things that are, really just no longer serving me, that there is a tremendous amount of freedom that can come with it. And
Right.
I think that is not necessarily the end goal of why I'm releasing, but it is one of the perks for sure. It's one of the things that gets me excited and opens me up to possibilities and opportunities that I probably wouldn't have considered before I started to kind of release those things that are holding me back. And so for me, it's really important. And there's lots of ways that I manifest that. I use a lot of visualization. I do use affirmations. I meditate. And so those are often ways that I use to help move through the things that I need to let go and to kind of keep my vibration up too. I use a lot of visualization, meditation, affirmations really to help keep my vibrations up, because that is one of the things that we often experience and we're letting things go is that lower vibration, and that's okay. It's okay as long as it's fleeting, as long as it's transient and not a permanent state of consciousness, at least for me. And that keeps my vibration in that lower state if I kind of feed it. And so
yeah, we have a choice what we want to cultivate.
Right. Exactly.
That's important to recognize, that we're choosing.
Exactly. And I think it's important too to just trust that that the universe and your all of the spiritual beings that are assisting you in this life are really there around you, especially in those times. I'm often reminded in these difficult times, like Footprints in the Sand. That's one of my favorite poems, and I think it's so true. We're often carried in these times, and we may not realize it. We may not acknowledge that we are being carried often by our spirit support team, and that they are there
We
surrounding us.
always are, really.
Right, right. But especially in those times when we
Yeah.
feel like we're alone, those times that are very difficult for us, that are challenging. And so I think that for me, it's really important to take a step back and remember that, remember that I
Right.
am being held, even though I may feel alone in my challenges. And everybody has those moments in life. I think that that's the best time to kind of cultivate that relationship. If I can surrender um, some of those constraints that I'm feeling and just say, I just trust and I believe that I'm being held right now and that I'm being assisted, I think can help a lot. And I like to pull oracle cards and get clarity that way. And I think that helps me create a plan. It helps me move forward. It helps me move beyond what I'm letting go. So here I am letting go of things, and I want to be able to kind of fill that void with the positive energy that I'm bringing in. And so we want to replace that, what we're letting go, we want to replace that with something positive so that our vibration stays up, while we're
Right.
manifesting the next steps on the path.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Sharon Williamson's with us, so good morning to
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah, it's fascinating. With this topic, it made me I continue yesterday when I was thinking about to come back to a dream that I had actually in the 1990s, one of the most profound dreams that I've ever had. And I'm going to share it because I think to me, it epitomizes what we're talking about here. And that is in the dream, excuse me, I first saw myself at a place where it was a division in the road, and I could take like the road that's most commonly traveled. It's like the freeway of life where the mass consciousness is, or I could take the road less traveled, which went up to the left, and it went around and up. It was a snowy mountainside where there were a lot of people on the mountainside. They were playing. They were throwing snowballs and playing in the snow and enjoying themselves. And I was on this road less traveled. So I started trying to climb up the mountainside with the snow. And I realized as I started up, it was a slippery slope. In other words, it was icy. So I kept sliding back down and I couldn't get to the top. I wasn't tempted to just stay there and play on the mountainside with the people who were kind of hanging around there. I wanted to get to the top. And I never did. In the dream, I woke up and I thought, well, what was that about? And then I have a process that I use for interpreting dreams that we teach in our programs. And so I went back, and really it's just about going in meditation and going back into the dream and seeing what's going to happen. So I went back into the dream and I was on the slippery slope, and I realized that I was carrying this backpack and it was very heavy. And I thought, well, gosh, maybe I can't get up to the top if I'm carrying this heavy backpack. So I took it off and I opened it up, and it was full of like all these crawly worms and gooey things and rocks and just all this stuff that I didn't need. And I was amazed that I was holding on to it. And this reminds me of what we're talking about, of holding on to those things. And so I thought, well, I'll just leave this backpack behind, which I did. I just left it there, and I was easily able to climb up to the top of the mountain. And when I got to the top, it was kind of like we do with the with the going to the mountaintop. There was this huge vista, beautiful valley, and just it was like this whole different world on the other side. And I looked out and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And that was amazing enough. That part, I thought that was so important. there was another part. Then I thought, well, gee, I noticed someone else is there with me. And I turned and I saw my husband, Philip, walking beside me. And it was interesting in that it was that I thought I was doing it alone, going up the mountaintop. And I wasn't. I actually had someone with me all the time. And I think if we look at that on a larger scale, as Gretchen was suggesting, we're surrounded by support. If it's not actual people around us, there are always there's this magnificent support from the divine that's here for us. And that's one of the reasons we connect with that in the circle every week, because we're not alone. We have all this help, and miracles can happen. Just the most amazing things can happen when we avail ourselves of it. So that to me is just the epitome of what we're talking about, is how can we get where we want to go and let go of those things that are dragging us down. I think sometimes with clients, I might kind of in my mind have an image of a person like they're carrying a ball and chain. It's like they have this baggage that they're not willing to let go of to have the freedom that they desire.
Right. I love that your dream is so clear. It's such a beautiful imagery. And for me, it's always a bag of bricks.
Right.
I ask myself, when are you going to put the bag of bricks down? When are you going to put that bag of bricks down? And that's really what it is. I feel like I have to carry the things that I'm building or I'm going to build with me all the time. But when I realize it's more like your backpack, it's more full of stuff that is stuff gross and icky stuff that I need to let go of, that
right, you don't want
that
it
I
anyhow,
don't need.
if
Right.
you
Why
really
do
think
I
about
want
it.
that? Right. But yeah, I often refer to it as a bag of bricks, and I feel like sometimes it is like a pressure. It's a weight on us, and we can't
Oh, it is literally,
right. We
spiritually.
can't.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And we can't get forward in life because of that. We can't, like your dream was showing you, you can't gain traction. You can't move
Right.
forward.
I just kept
Sliding backwards.
slipping down the slope.
The slippery slope, yes, which is also a really interesting metaphor too, the slippery slope.
Yeah.
But I think it's beautiful because it showed you exactly where you didn't want to be. I mean, you could admire the people having fun and playing around, but you were more serious about it. You didn't want to stay there with them. So I think that's a beautiful, that's also another metaphor. It's fine if people want to do that, but that's not part of your journey.
Yeah,
your
that
journey
wasn't
was
where I was at. Right.
Right, exactly. So I think so many of us probably carry that backpack around and don't even realize it. And when we start working with how to let go for us, what works best for us and how we're letting go of those things that no longer serve us, it is amazingly lightening to your spirit. I mean, you really do. You may not feel physically that you've been carrying this stuff around on your back all this time, but when you do release it, it is amazingly, you feel so much lighter, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You feel so much freer and lighter than you did. And that's kind of when you realize that backpack's been there for a long time. You need to let that part go. So I think that's a beautiful metaphor for all of us too. And, being able to walk your path and trusting that you do have the support all around you, I think is one of the things that's really helpful to this whole journey, is just constantly reminding yourself of that. And on some level, it's kind of egotistical to think I'm doing this all alone. I'm doing this all by myself,
Yeah,
because
poor
it's never
me.
woe
And
is
women
me.
were
Yes.
subject to that. Oh no, I tried so hard and nobody appreciates me.
Right. Well, I think that's a great thing. That's a great thing to bring up too, because I feel like we need to move out of that victim place, and really to let go of those things. We need to move beyond that place of being a victim and how everything is happening to us. We addressed that last week a little bit. Life is not something that's happening to us. It's something that we are participating in. We are creators. We're engaging in it. So I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, it's happening for us and because of us. And it's because the creator exists within us. I think anyone, if you missed that last week, that I thought that was really valuable too. And I want to mention Babs commented on the dream. She thought it was beautiful. And she says, I think we practice daily so that when the climb comes, we have the strength to go up and the awareness of our greater connection. I think that's true.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And Lula's here too. So
Hi, Lula.
welcome, Lula. um, I wanted to mention something that might easily kind of slip by, the kinds of things that might kind of hang around in the backpack without us being aware. There's an idea of keeping accounts. Like if we're keeping accounts against people, resentments and judgments and whatever, those are weighing us down. I always return to the statement from Jesus, the judge not lest ye be judged. Because if we're judging others, it's because we're judging ourselves too. If we understand that we all are creators and we're all equally loved by God, that we all have equal value, there is no reason to judge each other. We don't have to play that role, and I think that's a relief too. I don't have to be the judge. I don't have to be the person
Right.
who is like, I'm saying, well, this person is good and this person's bad. That person did the wrong thing. I can just go on with my life and bless them.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, you'd have to, my goodness, do you think how busy your life would be keeping tabs on everybody and everything that's ever happened? You know,
Yeah.
it would
Well,
be
we do so much
monstrous,
without
right?
knowing it too, though.
Right.
What about politics? I mean, the
Right.
politics now is really actually challenging us. Like, are you going to fall for this one here?
Right. Right.
And
Yeah, we have
we
to,
can just continue.
right. We really have to be in a high vibratory state of good discernment. You know, we have to be able to discern those things
Right.
that are really on that higher vibration. And
Yeah.
yeah, politics, that's generally a lower vibration. A lot of
Right. Right. Well, and the goal is a high vibration, to say, well, we obviously we want something, we want a more loving world. And we could say, well, this person is preventing that from happening. And then we go and then we kind of fall down we slide down the slippery slope again.
Right, right. Everything is external to us. Yeah, it's all happening to us. That's where we go
Right.
back into that, yeah, that victim place, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of
Right.
how everything is happening to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another one, just from my own experience, because earlier in my life, I held a lot of fear and I would be afraid of, well, what if this happens or that happens? Well, I finally realized when things, you could say, when major challenges arose, they were never things that I had anticipated. All of those things that I imagined and worried about, those were, it was a complete waste of energy. And it's like what Babs was saying. We practice so that when those challenges arise, then we can continue to move forward. But if we are already in fear and counting all the bad things that might happen to us, it's not going to help us at all. In fact, it holds us down. Like you were saying,
Right, right,
pulls us back down into the mire with the rest of the people
right.
who are suffering.
We move further and further away from our source, from that connection point too, you know, yeah.
Right.
And it keeps us
Exactly.
down, you know,
Right.
it's really hard once you're way down to, you know, so I think what Babs was suggesting, we can do things daily. I think that's the way to combat it, you know, is to keep those vibrations up and to do things daily that are nurturing that, you know, so that the climb
Mm-hmm.
is a steady ascent instead of this, you know, pickaxe and you
Right.
know, rappelling ropes kind of mountain. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I know that you mentioned before we started that you drew a card this morning. I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting because it seemed to be very synchronously related to what we're talking about today. And
Right.
that's another validation. I think oracles are so amazing. I actually did one for myself this morning too. And it was, I was asking a question I didn't think I could possibly get an answer for from an oracle, but I I wanted more insights on something that was kind of way out there kind of a thing. And it actually did. It worked. It's not I wouldn't have been able to anticipate it. And it's not necessarily the most obvious thing in the message either. It's
Right.
something, it's like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I get this. I see this. And, and it takes you on that journey, kind of like the journey up the mountaintop or whatever it is. So
Right.
anyhow, would you like to share?
Sure.
Long introduction.
So this is I use the Work Your Light card oracle by Rebecca Campbell, and the card that I chose is one called Break the Chain, which I thought was really interesting. And this card, what it does is it's inviting us to break that cycle, to become aware of the cycles that we live our life, also to become aware of ancestral healing, which is so interesting because it's about carrying, wounds through our family line. And not only do we have kind of collective wounds in the world, but even according to our country, but we also have, things that we are bringing forth into our life and on a cellular level that we may not be aware of. And so I think it's good. This card is inviting us to not only look at where, we can break the chain essentially, but also to maybe look at some of the things that we believe or are limitations in our life that are actually not ours. They're actually things that are coming from our family, things that we have learned or things that we have brought forward through 7 generations. And so I think that's really fascinating. And one of the things it says, seek assistance from your support team, begin freeing yourself from this now. That's one of the ways to break the chain, right?
Yeah. And here we are. This is part of it too, being here together now.
Exactly. And so it says what to notice with ancestral healing is that you can't heal the other person. You can only heal yourself. But what that does is that enables healing to happen, to past generations. Forgiveness, also has its own unique and beautiful energy. And when we can forgive the things that have happened to us and forgive ourselves, we're not only cultivating more self-love, but we're actually healing our bloodline, which is a really powerful thing. So this is inviting us to just look at those places in our life where we can break the chain, where we can let go of the things that are no longer serving us, both collectively through our family line and also in our daily lives. So I thought that was beautifully synchronous for today.
It is, yeah. Well, and it brings up a point about what we're going to do with the violet flame in Saint Germain is Saint Germain is quite an amazing ascended master, and he has shared the violet flame with us as an alchemical tool. It's like turning lead into gold energetically. It will transmute lower energies into love and joy. And that would include things that are there on a cellular level for you. We're going to actually do the violet flame. We're going to spend some time going through the whole body. And so this will be an opportunity to see what might be there in those different areas, even physical pain, all the different possibilities, and even at the level of the DNA. I think when you're talking about ancestral clearing, part of it is that it is in our cells. It is actually in our DNA coming through from other generations. And we can even, the violet flame can even touch that. So as we go forward with this, whether it's, fears or resentments or whatever it is you want to clear, or what you notice as we're going through it, you can bring all of these things to a cellular level and release them, whether they're yours or someone else's, wherever they come from. And this is something you can do on your own too. I would suggest doing that, especially if something really triggers and you say, oh gosh, I can see I need more there. Just invite Saint Germain, because he's there if we have a pure heart and we're open to actually receiving his blessings with an intention of receiving them for a positive purpose. Then he's here for all of us. So you ready?
I am excited. I love Saint Germain. Working with this violet flame is wonderful.
It's so amazing. Right. Yeah, it's something I do it quite often. And when I first did it, I was so amazed. I've done it. Actually, I first was aware of it many, many years ago, but I started doing it fairly recently again. And I thought, well, gee, when I do this, I start noticing I feel happy. And then I looked it up on online, and it says, and it transmute all these awful things into love and joy. So why not? And we're going to invite Raziel in too, just to add a little magic. He's another favorite of mine. So here we go. I'm so excited already. Okay. Can just start by, as we did at the beginning, again, closing your eyes. And it is really helpful to hold your spine straight because energy flows most freely through you that way. And that will help things to move along more quickly. So just start focusing on your breath, bringing in love and light from the universe around you as you inhale. And as you exhale, we can start to release now. Just letting go of any tension you notice that's ready to release. Any energy that doesn't feel good that you don't need now, you can just invite it to flow down through your body into the earth to be neutralized and turn back into light. And as you breathe, you can breathe in that love and light anywhere in your body that you notice it needs more. Just preparing ourselves to be in a lighter state to meet Saint Germain and all of the other beings of light who are supporting us, because we want to meet them halfway at least. Try to be, we want to lift ourselves somewhat to be there for them. And asking any energy in your space that is not your own to return where it came from. This will help to clear out more space as you breathe in that love and light. And bringing back any of your own energy that you've left in other times, other places, with other people. You may notice doing those two things that you feel more present in your body. Just enjoying that presence. And again, with that pure intention, we want to invite Saint Germain to join us. And we invite him, or I invite him, and you can invite him for yourself to bless us with a cascade of beautiful violet flame energy flowing down. And we're going to have it flow down, starting at the top of our body all the way down. And it may feel like a violet flame. It's not a hot flame, it's violet. But violet is the highest vibrational color that we can see. And this is the color that transmutes. I tend to imagine it more as sparkling violet light, because sparkles move energy. It's probably a very similar thing. So the point is, you can just envision it in whatever way feels right to you. It's also amethyst is a similar energy. So you can imagine that all of those colors in an amethyst, a deep, deep violet all the way down to a beautiful pale lilac, and even sparkles of white light flowing down over you. And first we want to focus on flowing those energies, that beautiful violet flame energy, into the area around your head. So we're looking at it, and we're looking at all the levels. It's the physical head, emotional, mental, spiritual, and your mind. This is an opportunity, if you notice old beliefs like I was talking about, like I believed that fear was productive for me, you can imagine now if there are any of those that you want to release, going all the way down to the cells. That violet flame, the cells are very intelligent in themselves. So it's in your brain, all of your sensory organs that are in your head, pineal gland, and your eyes and nose and mouth and ears. Just sending that beautiful violet flame through all of them so you can see more clearly and hear more clearly the voice of the divine in you, so that you can speak more clearly. Just noticing any area around that area that particularly needs that violet flame. And as it clears, just opening to that love, to loving every part of your head, your brain, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, everything, your cheeks. Sometimes there are parts of ourselves we don't love so much. We can love those parts now. And flowing down into your throat. This is where we carry things that are related to our expression and neck. The pain in the neck. Do you have any pains in your neck? Is there anyone around you who you perceive as a pain in your neck? Sending that violet flame in there, clearing out anything that's ready to clear in the area around your neck. Again, filling the space with love and light. And we can invite Raziel in now. Raziel is the magician of the archangels, and he appears often as a rainbow of light. And I imagine sparkles of all the colors of light. So we can incorporate those rainbows in with the violet flame to add some magic and miracles in. Feeling that energy of the violet flame and the magic of Raziel down over your shoulders now, noticing anything you're shouldering. And down your arms. Your arms are for reaching out and holding with your hands. Just noticing what you notice as we invite that energy into your shoulders and your arms. Again, filling any space that is cleared with the violet flame, with love and light and magic from Raziel. And down into your torso, which holds all of our unconscious emotions and things, what we can stomach, what we can breathe in, what we can release. Many organs there, just sending that violet flame all through your torso. And again, with each one, noticing anything that particularly needs attention on all levels, body, emotions, mind, spirit, all the way down to the DNA in the cells. And Raziel seems to be throwing some extra magic, and I can see him tossing gently extra sparkles into the magic here. As we focus now on the hips and down to our legs, which are about carrying ourselves forward. So you can notice your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, and your feet. Your feet connect you also with the earth. And some of the joints, you could say, like the ankles and knees, are about flexibility, how easily we can move. Your hips too. Again, just sending that violet flame energy into all the cells, following it up with some of those sparkles of rainbow light from Raziel. And then focusing on that ball of light around you, your whole energy field, filling it now with that violet light, flame, sparkles, rainbow colors, and allowing it to expand, allowing your perception of yourself to expand. Again, knowing that you can release any of those judgments that you don't need. You can release the fears that you know are unwarranted. You can create strength within your system to to support you when those times come, as Babs was suggesting earlier, when those times come and you need that strength is there for you. And above all, you can love yourself. Feel that love. Feel it in your heart, where the Creator resides in you, in that beautiful flame, a light in your heart. And I'm curious, Gretchen, if you'd like to share anything you're noticing from this. Oh, you're muted. I see your mouth moving.
How did I get muted?
I don't
I
know.
really enjoy how you add the sparkles to everything, because I feel, to me, it's like an effervescence. It's like and what it does is it kind of seeks out in me. When I visualize it, I'm visualizing it seeking out all of those kind of negative vibrations that are hiding, so it's kind of like it's not only bringing in this effervescent quality where it's kind of bubbly and joyful, but it's also
It
to
breaks
me.
up stuff.
Right, exactly. That's what it feels like. It feels, yeah, it's breaking up all of that energy, and because it's so joyful, it's immediately exchanging it for that beautiful joy. And I really can sense that through my physical body. And I injured my knee recently, and I actually started to feel a lot of movement in my left knee, and just, some things are coming clear to me in my own process about my inflexibility and moving forward. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt, though, that violet energy was really just moving through. And when we first started, I got this complete head to toe flush of energy, which I thought was really interesting. And it's my own internal kind of burning away of the things that I no longer need. And then so I just immediately invited in that cooling energy of the violet flame, because it's not always, it's not necessarily a temperature thing.
Right.
But to me, it was immediate, and it was like, okay, now we're sending through all the cool energy, and
Mm-hmm.
with that, it just felt like it was flowing right out. All of that negative energy was being transmuted and just kind of flowing right out of me. And it was beautiful. It was a really beautiful experience to feel, really a physical feeling of it, moving that energy through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I just feel a sense of love too. I feel
Right.
like a sense of kind of soothing and love from Saint Germain. I really feel that in my physical body too, that there's so much love behind the violet flame. It
Mm-hmm.
really is a very strong energy vibration of love, and that's why he shares it with us, is to
Mm-hmm.
really help us move forward in life. So I'm really getting that on a very physical level right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so amazing. Some consider him to be the teacher of the Aquarian age, who's opening us to what is possible here for us. And the theme for the Aquarian age is often also thought to be freedom. So we can, as we're here standing here or sitting here, we can be focusing on the freedom that comes when we release these burdens. Of course, we can climb the slippery slope. We can do so many things.
Yeah, I'm really feeling that too. I'm feeling lighter in a bunch of different
Mm-hmm.
physical areas of my body. And I feel much lighter in my mind. I loved the, bringing us through the mind first, because I feel like that's always,
Mm-hmm.
thinks it's in charge. The
Right. And
mind.
so many things start in our mind,
Right,
programming. You're talking so much about programming. It's in our heads and then it gets becomes reflected in our bodies.
right. It thinks it's so smart.
Right.
Thinks
Exactly.
it knows everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's just
Mm-hmm.
beautiful to have this energy flowing through. But I really feel the sparkling. I really feel like it is kind of re-energizing, maybe some dormant parts of myself.
Right.
Maybe, as we're moving through our challenges and our obstacles, and we're freeing up some of that space within us, I think it does bring in not only more light into our being and more love, but it also opens us up to more possibility, because now we have the room and space to kind of move around and see what else is possible.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If we're carrying that backpack or whatever it is, a bag of rocks or something. Uh, it's harder. Ball and chain around your ankles, all the weight of the world on your shoulders. All we have to be, actually, the best thing we can be is I think love and light, blessings of love and light for the world, because that's what the world needs. And I think that's why Saint Germain is so freely with us, because he knows that that's what is going to happen if people use the violet flame, is that they're going to light up. So we can come back and actually just be more aware of our bodies. We're going to come back and continue our discussion here. So we're not leaving anything behind. I think people often think, well, we're going to close this door now and open another door. I always feel like I'm going to bring this with me. And of course, I want to express my deep, deep gratitude to Saint Germain and Raziel and all of the other beings who are with us. I know there are many more. So just breathing in more active, kind of normal waking state energy. And feeling grounded to Mother Earth. We can send her love too. She certainly needs it. And I feel every time I do that, I receive more love from her. So being grounded, just breathing, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I do. I feel lighter. I feel,
I do too.
yeah, I feel lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
head feels lighter. My head doesn't feel as heavy. My head feels lighter.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting concept too. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what Bab said here. I have to move this thing over. She said, so lovely, thank you. So interesting. There was the violet light and it was followed by this beautiful teal color. Any idea what that might be? At the end, my heart was very radiant and it took a primary place over my mind energy. Oh, that's beautiful. And teal, some say teal is the color of the new age, of really of, if you actually, from Ken Wilber, if you look at Ken, if you have explored Ken Wilber at all, and he has stages of development and looks at teal as where we're wanting to go. So that might be meaningful for you. I think teal or turquoise, that's one of my favorite colors.
Mine too. Mine too.
Yeah.
I actually, when I think of or visualize a healing light, it often expresses itself as like a turquoise or teal light myself. So yeah, I resonate with that, Babs, for sure.
Yeah. And I do feel that's meaningful. So thank you for sharing that. Gosh. I feel so light. It does give me that kind of bubbling with joy feeling too. And maybe it's partly the sparkles.
It was beautiful because I felt like the violet flame was kind of coming through my body, and right behind it was Raziel's energy with that kind of, so like as you're clearing out, you're adding all this kind of effervescent joy and all these different qualities and colors to the energy that you're bringing in, that you're exchanging it or transmuting it to. So that's really beautiful. I love having Raziel there with us. It's I always feel very joyful. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think you mentioned this earlier, that I think it's an important point that if we clear out something within us, we need to fill it with something. Right. And it's interesting, a lot of healers, it's like their focus is on something being gone. And that's part of it.
Right.
But then the real focus is what's emerging, because that thing that was like whatever the burdens are that were in the backpack, now that they're gone, what is emerging instead? That's the real point.
Right. It's like cleaning the clutter out of a room in your house or something. And now it's like there's all these possibilities.
Right.
Oh,
what are you going to put in here?
Yay, what can I put in here? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. So Lula commented too. She says, amazing. Thank you so much. I'm feeling lighter. I felt how the violet flame cleared a lot of energy. I was having in my neck. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is something you can just invite Saint Germain anytime, just with that pure intention, knowing that you're here. You know that his help is going to help you to help him, really, to help
Right.
everyone. So he's here for you, and as is Raziel. Raziel, I, I think the world of Raziel. I have this bracelet. This one I wear a lot. I actually made it myself, and then with all the colors in it, and then programmed it with Raziel's energy so that when I put it on in the morning, I have some magic with me.
Beautiful.
This one is Metatron here, all the beautiful, uh,
That diamond white energy.
yeah, beautiful
Beautiful.
energy,
Yeah.
clear. And then that one I programmed with his energy. And that's something anybody can do too. Just if you have, it doesn't have to be a bracelet either, whatever it is, just a stone, and program it with the energy of something that is supportive for you. And then we have a new person. I might miss the spelling. You'll have to forgive me. Or the pronunciation, Rukmini Dinesh. Beautiful. It sounds beautiful. She says, "Hi, ma'am." I think it's a her. Maybe. Let me see. Can't tell. Anyhow, whoever you are, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome from everywhere, because we're here. Actually, I think that was what I was saying when we were kind of ending the meditation part, is that if the only thing you're doing is bringing in more love and light so it can radiate out to the world, you're serving a beautiful service. I think a lot of people think I need to have this like huge mission and be a leader and like Oprah Winfrey or something to be of value. And it's not true.
Right.
Each of
Right.
us has tremendous value, and if we can just shine our own light as bright as possible, I just I can see that lighting up the world and overwhelming all of the fear.
Right. I feel like that's such an important mission too. Think about that contrasted against, everything that's happening in the world. Think about how important it is just to have more of us focusing on love and light. That right
Mm-hmm.
there seems like a really important mission,
Right.
right now, especially in today's world. So I feel that's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing to remind us of, is it does, we can't all be Gandhi, and we're not meant to be, we're not
No, we don't
all meant
have
to
to
be
be.
Mother Teresa, right?
Right.
We're meant to be our own unique selves. And I think just aligning with that energy and helping to share it is so powerful. That's a life mission right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I see Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. She says, I use the violet every day.
Nice. Yeah.
Good idea. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I actually kept hearing myself the whole time. I felt like Saint Germain was saying, remember this, remember this. And then right when I was getting ready to say something, you mentioned your bracelet. So I think that's a good reminder for me too, just having
Mm-hmm.
that little item, or that little talisman, or that little object that just kind of brings us back to that beautiful energy. So
Mm-hmm.
reminds us
Yeah.
reminds us that it's accessible to us at all times too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it is with the violet flame, if you invite it in and Saint Germain, you can then ask, well, what is it that would be most beneficial for me today? And what is it I'm clearing? You can make it a consciousness raising process in your own meditation. There's so much you can do with it. It just, I think it's an incredible gift to humanity.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And again, the most important part of it is, what is it opening up? It's not like, oh, well, I'm done with that. Kind of like, okay, oh, oh,
Next. Yeah.
right, yeah, next.
Oh.
Because
And I think
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's what you're saying is a beautiful reminder too, that this kind of work of letting go and releasing doesn't have to be daunting or scary or um, extremely formal or anything like that, that it's so accessible to us at any time, and that it can be joyful to let the things go that we no longer need. It doesn't have,
Mm-hmm.
I think we often call it work, and it is on some level work, but I almost wish there was another word for it, because it doesn't have to be work. It can
Right.
be something very freeing and something that helps to lighten up our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a daunting task. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a channeled being named Lazarus. Are you familiar with
Hmm.
Lazarus? Yeah. And he says we have two choices on how we can grow. We can do suffering or we can choose to grow. And that's where, through a more joyful experience of growth. We can do it voluntarily or being forced into it, in other words.
Right.
And the more we can volunteer and do it with intention and with love for ourselves and everyone, the easier the path is.
Right. And we can let that go while we're using the violet flame, that this work is hard. It doesn't have to be, it
Right.
can be joyful and loving and very fulfilling, and
Mhm.
lightening our spirit. So
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, and asking for insights from the divine on that, there's there's just so much that's possible. And I've found connecting with the angels and the masters just in general, if you do that every day, it changes something in you. I think it does. It lifts your vibration in a way. I'm not sure of anything that could do it quite in the same way. And things do feel easier. Well, when we realize we're supported. One time, years and years ago, many years ago, before we were married. In fact, it was uh, just before Philip and I were married. We lived out in the country, and we were driving. Uh, we were going somewhere from where we lived, and for some reason, we decided to start off on a rainy night. That's real smart. We never did that again. And so we were driving down this hill, and this was out in the country, mountains and valleys, and so we were on this hillside, and I was driving, and I came around a bend, and right in front of us was a deer, and I actually was even aware driving down the hill. I want to be extra careful, and so I thought I just lightly touched the brakes, but the car hydroplaned. It turned around 180 degrees and went sideways across the road. And fortunately, it went to the high side rather than the low side, like downward. So it hit the hillside next to us, and it went around 180 degrees and landed on the tires. And so we ended up just sitting there. And after composing ourselves for a little bit, we just drove it home again. And that experience I felt like the angels were definitely there with me. We barely had a scratch, and there was glass everywhere.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And those kinds of things, it just made me feel much more trusting. Actually, rather than being more fearful, I felt more trusting because I knew that the angels were watching out for us.
Right. It could have
But
been so much
I didn't
worse.
ever go out in a rainstorm like that again.
Could have been
Philip
so
said
much
afterwards,
worse.
"I had a bad feeling about that." Well, oh gosh. Mm. Oh, Rukmini was asking, "Is that selenite?" Actually, this isn't selenite, but I love selenite too. I'll just show you. This is my selenite heart. I keep this around. And selenite, if you hold selenite, it people say also that this will help you to lift your vibration so that you can more easily connect with the angels and masters if that's a factor for you. And it is selenite is just one I I can't say enough about it. It clears negative energy. So I do have selenite bracelets I wear sometimes too, and I have little sticks of selenite like this all over the place. They'll clear
Mhm.
your jewelry. I have them. This one was sitting on a couple of decks of oracle cards that I have to keep them clear. So yeah, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and it feels really good.
It really does. Yeah.
Thanks for asking that question because I think selenite is a great thing to have.
Right. Energetically, it's one of the few stones you don't have to clean. They actually
Right. Yeah, it actually cleans
it
the other
cleans other
stones around
stones.
it.
Right.
Right. Everything around it. And yeah. Yeah, that's a magical thing too. The only thing is it is it's water soluble. And if your dogs
Right.
get it, I know one person told me their dog ate up almost, it was a large dog, one of those selenite hearts, or at least kind of
It's very
deep,
soft.
deep
Yeah,
faced. Yeah.
it's a very soft stone. We actually had a large chunk of it years ago that you could literally just slice it with a knife, and we were able to give pieces to other people, but it's very soft. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to be careful with that.
that's funny. I don't know that you could do that.
Maybe not with the polished pieces, but with the
Yeah.
elongated pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you can get wands, and they also have plates that you can use to put things on. It's wonderful. So with that, I think we're about at the end, sending all that love and light out into the world. And Gretchen, from there, would you like to share how people can learn more about what you are and what you're doing, and say
Sure,
hi?
thank you. Absolutely, Jane. Thank you. So people can connect with me on my website, spiraljourney.net. That has the most comprehensive list of all of my services. But I am a coach, and I'm an energy healer. I'm also Reiki master and a sound healing practitioner. And basically, I help people find their inner power. I help people find their inner strength and empower people. And if people want to connect with me, they can also connect with me on Facebook. I'm at Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services, or Gretchen Comer. And I'm also on Instagram at Spiral Journey Gretchen. So yeah,
Thank
love
you.
for you to stop by and
Yeah.
say hi.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, that what you said about helping people to find their own inner power, because that's what the teaching is now. It's not about telling people what they need to know. It's about helping
Right.
people to learn for themselves, to
Oh yeah.
receive their own inner wisdom and
I much rather
all of
show
that.
people, yeah, how
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah,
Yeah, empower them how to
right.
do it. Right.
Well, right, and that's what we need now, is to empower people so that they can feel that they can receive their own guidance and all of that. So thank you, and thank you for being here. So Awakenings Institute, the sponsor of the circle, we have, let's see what I have here. We have a free resource kit for life workers, spiritual healers, and way showers, and really anybody who's interested. It has an excerpt from our book, The Loving Power of Your Soul. It has a video, we call it the Happy Tap with the EFT. It's another just easy healing kind of thing, and other resources. I think I actually last week, yes, I put up the video from the circle that we did last week about connecting with the creator, with the God exists within us right here in the heart. So we have that there, just a lot of different things. So you can find that at tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. And we use tiny URLs because we have very long names. We have a big website and we have very long names to our pages. So you can also get a copy of our book, The Solution, which is about about love as a solution, at tinyurl.com/444, the number -solution. And that one is a free book. We want as many people as possible to have it and share it with their friends so that they understand the power of love. And it's practical. And
It's
it makes
wonderful.
everything better. Right.
Yeah, it's
So,
a wonderful book. It truly is. Yeah.
well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it is, it's just a gift to the world. So,
absolutely.
and the circle, you can find out more at circleofloveandlight.org. So that's it. If you want to support the circle, please like our page on Facebook, share our videos with your friends, and invite people to join you in the circle so you can have something you can talk about too. And the last thing I'd like to do is send love and light out to the week ahead. We can go beyond time and space, and there are people here who are here with us beyond time and space in other times, but we're here together anyhow. So just sending that love and light out. You can send it back, clearing your ancestral line. And have a wonderful week. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. See you hopefully next time.
Bye-bye.